Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. Before we actually get into it, I would like to actually apologize for the no show basically for the post match because it was a couple of unforeseen circumstances that was just out of the blue. We didn't expect that to happen because it never happened. People who follow us regularly, they know that we are here after every game and before every game. So this has been a ritual that has been painstakingly kept up by a group of individuals who who work and study at the same time. So it has been a little rocky as of late, but we're back on track. This I hope is a slight blip, because serious investment is being uh, gone into the infrastructure, basically, of the podcast. But um, yeah, before we get into our result against Valencia, definitely an uplift in form, in mood at the Bernabeu. I would like to congratulate Caroline Vieira. He scored her first hat trick in 10 years. It's her first hat trick since she scored for the under 19 Scottish women. So, yeah, big day for her, big day for Real Madrid Femenino, who thrashed, I think, Valencia. The last time I checked the score, it was like 6-1 or something. Couple of bangers from, I guess, was it Teresa or was it Zonoza? I'm not sure. But yeah, big up the Femenino. Uh, they have been balling out this season. Apart from the blip against Barca. But yeah, back to our boys at the Bernabeu. Um, where do I start, man? Honestly, Valencia never really gave us a fight. I don't think they ever, gave us a fight. On paper, it seemed like a very interesting matchup for sure because they definitely have the quality to hurt us. But I don't remember Thibaut making a save. Granted, I couldn't watch the last 20-25 minutes. Um, but yeah, all throughout the period I was watching, we weren't tested much. And we were wasteful for, large parts, of the first half. I felt like, we should have scored within the first 5 minutes. But before we get into it, enough of the introduction. I would like to welcome the panel. Vishal and Doris, how are you guys doing? And yeah, man, how is the whole vibe?
I'm good. I'm good. What matters, again, as I always say, is that we won. Hopefully, we'll do the same, and I'm always happy when we win. And sorry again for the last episode, but join us again tomorrow.
Is that another false promise, Doris? But yeah, man, Vishal, how are you doing?
Yeah, all good too. Like Doris said, just happy that we got the win more than anything else, to be honest.
Mm.
And yeah, like you said, they're like a little lackluster in the first half. Like, I don't know. I feel like we are one of the worst teams to watch at nil-nil. Just sometimes so dry, so paper dry sometimes. But yeah, once we score, it's like everybody wakes up and it's all good. So yeah, you were saying, sorry.
No, like all these people, including me, Gus to great extents to actually put our performance at nil-nil into a sentence, and just that what you said is I think the perfect summation of what we see when our team is nil-nil. We're conservative, we sit back, we invite pressure. The tempo was fucking slow, man. Oh my god, the tempo was like, was it even a
It
preseason
wasn't
trend?
there, yeah.
It wasn't
There
there.
was nothing to speak of. Yeah, exactly.
It was
Always
nothing.
like yeah, these one nil-nils are like not a good state for us. We've like you said, I think you said in the beginning, we should have scored early. We should generally be scoring early. Like it's our best football always seems to come once we've somehow gotten that goal in at some point. But if we don't start bringing our best football much sooner than that, bit of trouble. But yeah, like you said, wasn't really much of a battle on the day. Valencia just post managerial change as expected, sort of lost, not here, not there, missing a few key players. And yeah, we could have done better, I'd say, but again, just happy that we got the win. And
Yeah, man, Doris. Brief thoughts about the first half. You know, you were kind of surprised that Rudiger scored at the end of the first half, and then it got chopped off and that stuff. Talk to me.
Yeah, I didn't see when that happened. I was like, what? And I went to check it out. Yeah, and yeah, I was surprised. But yeah, the person or the player I would like to highlight for the first half has to be Asensio. I mean, damn, man, what was that? Thankfully, he redeemed himself in the second half, but the player that really stood out was Asensio, and I think that has to be one of his
He
worst
had like
halves.
two clear cut chances to just
The
bury
ones
the goal.
those weren't even chances. Those were clear goals.
Yeah,
it was easier to score
miss
than
them.
to not score those goals.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, thankfully he redeemed himself. But yeah, first half we had many chances, many opportunities that we didn't take or missed. But yeah, it was nice to at least see that we were doing something and attacking and actually being like really dominant in the game. I mean, Valencia isn't doing amazing at the moment, but it was still good to see. And if Asensio scored those, we wouldn't be talking about it the same way. And
Yeah.
I think we would be praising how they all played in the first half.
Absolutely. Asensio had a blinder in the second half, but in the first half, man oh man, you kind of get the you kind of get the bad omen, when you see such misses live, especially like the first chance. I think it was a brilliant ball from Modric. I think it was the highlight of his game, apart from maybe the shot that he had right after we went like 2-0 up,
Yeah.
which was saved by Mamadashvili. But that pass was perfect, man. It begged to be put away,
It
and
was.
yeah, Asensio like kind of scuffed his shot. But I was kind of mad at like how we were sitting back, allowing them to actually get control, and like both teams being in a low block is not a fun watch. And I was kind of hoping for Kamavinga to do something, and he almost did something. He almost had a chance, a good shot, which was fair to him, a very tight angle, but he actually went for it. And yeah, man, he combined well with Benzema and Vinicius for the second goal. We'll get to it, but Kamavinga has been really, really stepping up, and also Danny Ceballos. Talk to me about Ceballos, Vishal. Like the Bernabeu actually chanting his name. How significant is that turn of form for him, and how much do you think it's going to help him um, cement a place in the side?
Yeah, I think it's huge for him. Like, I think it probably means the world to him because, like, I think we mentioned it in a couple of episodes before also that he's been vocal about this, the fact that he wants to stay.
Yeah,
That he literally said he's fighting for a contract. He's fighting for more years at Real Madrid, and to have that
I've
is
never seen many players do that. Be on
yeah,
so
right.
on.
Yeah, very, very on the nose about it. Very like speaking heart on a sleeve types. And that I mean, you're also putting pressure on yourself when you say that. So that's
Yeah,
pretty commendable in its own way as well. But yeah, above all, like the performances he's putting up, just incredible back to like let's say Betis levels of Ceballos. He's definitely one of those guys who has the technique which is perfect for our league. Like you can run a midfield around here, around these parts. And if you have composure, the vision, the game IQ, and the execution above all, which is what he's been showing, he's always been good at, like vision, let's say passes. We know he can dribble, but he's not done all of that at like this kind of level, at least for a while,
he
I'd say.
used to always overdo it with his dribbles.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's something I felt as
I've
well
been
before.
watching Ceballos for like ever since he
Exactly.
came to us. I have never seen him at Betis, but this has been a constant theme with him where he tends to overdo stuff. But now it seems to have that kind of maturity that you expect from a player who's like 25, 26. Um,
Exactly.
so I would say this is normal, but in a way, it's kind of fascinating because I had to actually eat my words because um, forwarded, I mean, rewind it back to last year on this very panel. Like we have had huge debates about how worthy is the bios of a role in a squad. But um, going by my past experiences, I've always mentioned that yes, he's a good player. Like you can't just write off Ceballos as a bang average midfielder. But what I've seen him, the evidence that was in front of me showed me that he isn't quite as mature as we all once thought. And now I think that side of him has actually come to the forefront, and he's actually beginning to dictate game the way the Modric's and the Cruises um, have been doing so well for us. And
Yeah.
like
And
the
it's
way
not
he,
easy,
yeah,
It's like, sorry to interrupt, but it's not
no, no,
easy,
go.
right? Like, yeah, dictating the tempo of a game. I mean, we keep using that phrase a lot, but to take control of something like that,
Yeah,
at the highest level is not easy, and he's been doing that so well. Like, he
that
basically,
one
like,
I think.
yeah, go on.
Go on, Vishal, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, he just sort of he's reading the press well now. I think that's what's happening. His game IQ sort of either gone up or he's activated it, whatever it was, right? Maybe he always had it in him. But now he's just really manipulating the press as a whole,
I
doing
honestly
things
think
that
it
you.
is. I
Mhm.
honestly think it is down to basically him getting pivotal. I repeat, very pivotal. Um, wasn't exactly game changing as Kamavingas, but he actually helped us see off a fair few good results in the Champions League last season. And I'm pretty sure if I was in his position, I was a guy who was fighting Luka Modric and Toni Kroos for some game time, would be like pleasantly, aided by it, and the confidence levels would have been through the roof. Especially if you remember in the Champions League final, I think he came on for the last 15 minutes or 10 minutes or something, and the fact that Carlo actually did that and gave him the trust to actually see the game out, I think that kind of did the trick. I'm pretty sure if that wasn't the case and Ceballos was like frozen out like how Hazard is at the moment,
Yeah,
it would have been a different story. But since I think the management and the players around him actually put faith in him, um, I think that's the reason why basically it's the bios which
paying off. Yeah.
yeah has turned a corner. So the earlier point I was kind of trying to mention was that like there is a striking battle between the two guys who broke into our team this season. Be, one being Kamavinga and Ceballos. It is their how should I put it? Like when I watch them, they don't get to be phased. They don't seem to get phased by the pressure. Basically, like, you summed it up earlier very well. That they don't seem to get phased by the press. They're very press resistant. I wouldn't say they are the very the creme de la creme of press resistant players out there, but when I see them, like I feel so much more confident in them being in tight spaces. Like I have this kind of belief that they would escape from that situation. Like, um, Doris, can you tell us like how different it would have been if Ceballos wasn't there, and probably Carlo wouldn't be starting Arribas, but imagine a player in Ceballos' shoes who was actually not deemed to be very good enough, but being put in that position. Like, do you think that would have um, resulted in like us going for someone in the winter transfer window and getting someone not so adequate to our levels, etc.?
Um, I think they had their mind set even before Ceballos was showing this kind of form. But yeah, for that match, Valverde would have stepped in if Dani wasn't like this. And yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that he's playing like this. Uh, I just feel like he switched with Feder with his form, and now we just, instead of Feder, we're playing him. You know, it's a 1 for 1, and it should have been that both of them are in this kind of form, but they're not. And right now we get to play Asensio a lot more, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, which gives us a spot for Ceballos, because obviously he's not feeling like playing Fede for a while, just for a match or two.
I think it's very good that like some people get to rest
Yeah,
and
and
revitalize it and
this
be
was the
back on
perfect
top.
timing for Ceballos. If it had to come anytime, it's great that it came right now, because Ceballos is feeling it right now, playing his really good football, and yeah, it's a good time for him, but it could have been nicer if both of our players were in form, or in this kind of form. But
Yeah,
at least it
that's
leaves
yeah.
a spot for Ceballos.
Mm. Vishal, I actually wanted to ask you about the the result, the opposite result of this, basically. That is Fede actually getting some well needed rest, and him kind of maybe looking to reinvent himself. And he looked sharp when he came on against Valencia in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of the situation we will be stuck with when I think before the season started, we were sort of like really happy about our midfield depth. It was something we were talking about. Hey, we just won the Champions League, and then we have even more midfielders now. This is great, like Doris said, the fact that Ceballos is upping his level now. It's important. We usually have like these January, February kind of periods where until the CL game comes, we don't really wake up, and then for the rest of the season, we're fine once that round of 16 is over. But he's helped us, and like you said, win games. He's helped us control games, and that's important because of the circumstances, we see Cruz playing as a six, and there's already a problem there. So you do want to compensate for what he's leaving when he doesn't play at his best position, which is what I think Ceballos has been doing really well. So, yeah, as far as Fede goes, um, I'm not sure. It's always going to be like I think earlier we were talking about Camavinga. Some point we are talking about Ceballos. Now it's going to be Fede. Like there are three spots in the midfield, and the ones on form are going to be preferred. So it's
Do you see in 3 weeks' time, aware the Merseyside, do you see either Ceballos or Fede? Fede probably might start, you never know. But do you see
uh,
Ceballos in our midfield trio?
I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. I think a lot depends on how Chouameni comes back into the equation.
Mm.
And secondly, on how Modric picks up his form, if
Yeah.
let's say given
He has
time
been
and
kind
all
of
of that.
iffy, not gonna lie.
Yeah, like I thought last game was better than
Better performance.
better than his other performances. But again, I feel like at this point Ceballos is performing at a higher level. So it will. I think Kroos and Germany have to start. So Fede might start on the right. I'm not sure. Rodrigo will again always have a case for that. But I just have a feeling that Fede might start on the right again, like he did in the final. And we might, I mean, Carlo might just stick to what's safe and just start Kroos, Germany, and Modric anyway. Especially
Yeah.
if, let's say, Camavinga situation is sorted with Kim being at left back or having to be at left back. Then yeah, that might just happen. Last press conference, Carlos said something very interesting, which is he said he very consciously likes keeping players like Rodrigo or
On the bench,
Ceballos on the
yeah.
bench sometimes, so
It's
that
not because I
um
consider him to be, sub
yeah,
I consider him to to be a game
So
changer.
it's a conscious plan, right? And it means that if this is how our coach is thinking, then we should also realize that fine, this is the game plan, just as
Yeah,
much as
that's what I used to
yeah.
tell people who used to on this very panel who used to actually contest the notion that how long is Kamavinga gonna be on the bench? Like how long will a player be satisfied with being a rotational option? I mean, you are the biggest club in the world, and
Yes.
this is a far better option than so many other players can even dream of. So, you know, I think it all towards a collective goal and not who starts or not who comes off the bench basically. But
And especially
um,
for the midfield position, I mean,
yeah,
just we're stacked, man. Three people can start. It's gonna come down to something at some point.
mm.
I agree.
and the very fact that someone who's so promising in Arribas is being left to rot in Castilla
Yeah.
is it speaks for itself basically. But I guess that's the midfield kind of sorted. I would want to get into the defense. Yeah, we suffered two big injuries, one of Karim Benzema and Eder Militao. We'll talk about Benzema in a bit, but Militao, man, like he has been our best defender this season. Without him, I don't think how we are going to navigate the rest of the fixtures in February. It seems to be when I actually saw the game, it seemed to be a slight pull, but the way that Carlo kind of framed it in the post match thing, that like it seems far more serious than expected. Vishal, like this is the question to both of you. Okay, so I'm gonna start with you, Vishal. Like, who is a bigger miss, Benzema or Militao? Just one word, one name.
Militao. And
No.
yeah,
There's no
yeah.
if and but, right? Doris.
Militao, yeah, definitely. But
Militao.
I have to ask, when is Alaba coming back? I'm not reading any news about that.
It, I'm not sure that he'll be back in the starting 11. I think he should be back in some shape or form
He's in Carlos said he'll be back in the squad tomorrow for Mallorca.
in the
No,
squad.
yeah, but yeah,
But I
don't know if
expect
he'll start. Yeah.
Nacho and Rudiger to start.
Yeah.
And, and,
Um,
and
so
in the
at least we have that, at least we have that. And maybe for Benzema, he isn't in his best form, like he was last season, where we needed him. Like we could not win a game without him. And right now, I mean, there's a lot of hope in our team, or at least in the fan base. In Rodrigo, Vinicius,
yeah.
and Asensio, maybe even. Uh, so yeah, maybe not like last season, but this season our back line is all over the place, and maybe for tomorrow against Mallorca, hopefully it won't be that bad. But for the Club World Cup, we need to get it sorted. Thankfully, Carvajal was back. He played 25 minutes or so.
Back straight from injury into the mix. I don't know
Yeah.
how long we are going to keep repeating the same mistake, man. Like we did this in the Spanish Super Copa, and we lost Mendy already.
Yeah,
We lost Mendy already. I
I
don't
think that for
understand.
tomorrow we are all right. Mallorca. I don't want to underestimate them, but we have far bigger matches to look at. And if Militao is injured, as they say, yeah, that will be a huge miss. And just for Militao, like I had to say, it is crazy how much he is actually injured, or how often he comes off the pitch, even though he turns out to be okay. It feels like every 6 7 matches he goes down in pain because of something, which is really strange for someone that is 24 years old. Looking at Vinicius and everyone else that gets fouled a lot more, and is a lot more physical than he is, because he runs a lot. He's a center back, but still, he isn't fouled that much, and it's just surprising how much he gets injured compared to our other players. And it is something that we need to look at, because that isn't a good sign for him, and he's only starting right now. We need
Funnily
to
enough,
help him.
Araujo has like a similar issue. He keeps
Yeah.
picking up knocks, keeps disappearing as well. I think respectively two of Madrid and Barca's best centre backs with like similar kind of.
Niggling issues every now and then. I mean, I think it comes with the territory, bro. In my honest opinion, because if you're defending at any other club, like I'm pretty sure you have much more backup, man. When you're defending for Barcelona and Real Madrid, like I think our defenders are basically left stranded most of the time. So I think probably it might be a repercussion of that. But yeah, man, Militao missing every now and then is never gonna help us. And I think that is the reason why we are kind of looking for people like Guardiola in the summer and whatnot. But Rudiger, Vishal, were you impressed by what he did, or was it another step in the right direction at least?
Yeah, for
Again,
me, overall, he's making steps in the right direction. I've been one of his biggest critics, I think, for this season. Most of his performances pre-World
yeah,
Cup, just very here and there. Especially with regards to his aggression in a back four, not coming out. I mean, yeah, like I think I talked about that Leipzig game once. That's like the game. He was giving so much space away. Now he's improved. I think he's improving a lot actually, more than I had expected, I would say even. So I'm glad that's happening. He's getting into challenges more, sticking his leg in more, and not just relying on his physique. Like he's dispossessing people now and all of that. So yeah, I would say it's good, but I mean, like you said, like we'll still have this issue of the fact that Militao is still like is our most aggressive defender. He stops attacks from before they can even begin, by intercepting the target man. Whoever is receiving the ball, he's already there. So if that's cut out, Rudiger, in my opinion, has to step up and fill in that role, because yeah, our backline's not that cohesive. It requires people to step up and do some things, because the structure by itself is not solid enough. So
I don't
he'll
know
have
the
to
amount
step
of
up
time
even
you
more, I would say.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was
I would
gonna
I
say.
mean,
ask, like, what are actually the chances of us getting Guardiola or any center back in the
we're not gonna
summer?
get Guardiola. I'll tell you that for a fact.
I think chances for that are pretty much zero.
Mm.
I will tell you that right now. Especially because
80 million, 80
uh,
million, 60 million. Fuck that.
and we
Honestly,
have Alaba, Nacho, Rudiger, and Militao. That is four center backs, and we also
there's a
have
guy called Rafa Marin. I
Camavinga.
hope he
We will
stays.
get
And Garcia.
Garcia, Carvajal, and Vasquez. Like that. That's a lot of defense with a lot of
Vasquez is not a
players that
defender,
are
bro.
not playing that well. And considering the contracts of all of those, I don't think we will get a center back in the summer. I think they will stop at Garcia, and maybe
We
maybe
need a
get.
wing back though. That's I think should be the
We do,
prime
we do.
objective. I hope the club kind of recognizes that and doesn't chase big names like Guardiola.
But
Um,
Guardiola, I think there's no chance, and I'm sad about that as a creation. But yeah, I think there is no chance, and that is exactly what our center backs need to step up, because I don't think we will get new players.
mm. Yeah, going back to the previous point made by Vishal, which is very interesting, is stepping out is sort of a last-ditch maneuver to basically kind of try to guess where your opponent is gonna penetrate through what part, what zone, and it's more often than not the last ditch attempt to read your opponent. And while we were growing up, it used to be such a very like it used to be second nature to people like Ramos, people like Pepe, and when I see Rudiger trying to step up, it's honestly shambolic. Like
You
when
know,
I
sometimes
see,
he gets there and then it's just stuck, like, okay,
yeah,
so now you've conceded space behind you and
mm,
you're not going to win the ball back. You're just going to let him hold it up. Then
mm,
you've just left the space behind for no reason, right? So you're always at the risk of do it, win the ball. Like you said, Ramos, Pepe would go, but they do something. They'd at least concede like a small foul and just break up play for a second, go back and reorganize again. Yeah,
they were
worrying
perfect either.
without.
They used to concede a lot of goals on the breakaway as well. Like one of them trying to step up, but
Yeah.
you see Rudiger. There's clear flaws in his game. Well, people warn me, but I was very impressed by him at Chelsea playing in a back three. But I I had my reservations of him in the back four. But yeah, man, like I hope he steps up. He needs to step up. This is the moment, especially when Militao is out. But yeah, talking about Thibaut didn't have much to do, honestly, a spectator for large parts. But yeah, moving on to the attack, man. Let's start with Asensio. Obligatory banger. Basically, you see before that goal, Vinicius. His ball should have been so much better. It should have been a clear tap in for Karim. I don't know how it kind of was a bit wavered, and he basically had to go to the right wing and collect it back and come back, and you see, if you watch the replay, Asensio screaming to Benzema, please give me the ball. Like he just Benzema thinks like for a few seconds, and then it kind of hits him. Oh, this is his angle. This is the homie's angle. I should just
It's
give him the
coming,
ball.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
should just pass it sideways and boom. And yeah, I've always said that like I can't really turn my back on Asensio because he is a player that has actually given me so many very great memories all throughout the three-peat era and whatnot. So yeah, for him to actually score that, how many keepers in Europe has actually stood and watched that ball being placed either bottom corner or top corner for Asensio time and time again. And yeah, anything to add for Asensio? And do you think that along with Ceballos, he is warranted a new contract? Vishal,
Uh,
you can go, or Doris, you can go.
so yeah, I always say like I'm one of his biggest fans,
Yeah.
and for both of them, like people like I don't know, and said it last time. I don't know what this narrative is like with. I think it's because of like foreign fans, mostly of constantly getting transfers about like foreign players without even thinking about our Spanish players, like the core of this team, like of this country and everything, and that city. And I think it's ridiculous how easy people find it to just write off a player like Asensio and Ceballos and Nacho and Carvajal and all of them. And yeah, I will be pissed if either one of them leaves the club. And I don't think that he deserves to be dropped from this team. I don't think that he is our best player. I definitely think that we need a backup there, or an actual right winger. Um,
Basically, at this moment in time, a backup to either Rodrigo or Fede on the right.
yeah, and
I mean,
that says a lot. That says a
I
lot.
think I think that is where the kind of the confusion arises in contract negotiations, because I read his entourage basically wants him to have a much more prominent role in the team, and I don't think the management is ready to accept that. Vishal, your thoughts on that, man? Like, do you see yourself? Do you see Asensio basically breaking into that right hand spot and doing crazy stuff like what he did a couple of days ago? In the second half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, the contract situation is a little dicey, like here and there. It's like, what do you do, right?
Ceballos is, I think, figured out. It's done.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's true. But yeah, Asensio on the right, like I think the main issue is that he's
We
lost
have no
his
width
pace.
with him. We have absolutely zero.
Yeah, on paper
Zero
we
width.
should, right? On paper we should, but
On
he
paper,
isn't
we
confident.
shouldn't, because he's a guy
Yeah.
who likes to cut in on the left, and
Yeah,
he's
but
not known for his
generally
athleticism.
correct. But between him and let's say our whatever our fullback, like we should be stretching the pitch because
Man said, whatever,
somebody
bro.
is.
Nacho.
Yeah,
Nacho was the
that
big
was the
man.
other problem. Yeah, exactly. Right, Nacho was not the best. So
He was
essentially,
trying his level best.
yeah, I guess, but I mean, he's just not the best fullback,
Yeah,
let's say.
for
So yeah, but yeah, I mean, since he's lost his space, it's like as a winger, you have to be more of a build-up or a link-up based sort of player. Yesterday, I mean, for the first, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, he was horrible. His body language also was like very annoying to me, to be honest. Like he was just shrugging. Touch was so
Essentially,
like he like
those kind of players that when
yeah.
when he doesn't have a good day, like everybody knows about it. Like
It shows, yeah,
everybody
exactly.
knows.
Exactly. His touch was like so bad. And after a point, Carlos sort of started using him as between the lines, receive more between the lines, move the play around, and that's when he got a little bit better for me. So yeah, like because he's lost the space, I don't know if he's gonna be a starting right winger. Eventually, we will need that some sort of presence, right? That's what Fede and Rodrigo also offer on the right in case they do end up playing. So yeah, I don't know if he's going to be a starter if that's what he wants. I actually wouldn't be comfortable promising that to him personally.
I don't think
But
he wants a starting role per se, but a more prominent role is what I read. Prominence.
I mean, at least
either be more minutes or
right. At least under Ancelotti, the forward line tends to get minutes in any case. So it'll be a situation where if he does get a good run of form, he
definitely
is
a
going
good
to
option
play.
from the bench, right?
Yeah, I think he's a good player to have in the squad for sure. I mean, he's got at least 2-3 goals like that a season. That's good.
I think the hierarchy is basically waiting for him to do something like what Rodrigo did in the Champions League last season. Something that momentous that like it can really make him feel like he's part of the mix. At this point in time, I can guarantee you that like him scoring that banger, he would have thought to himself, I have actually played at the semi-pro level as well, and I used to have days like those, because I was a guy like Asensio, not a guy like Vini, right? So I used to have days like those where I thought, okay, I picked up a great wicket, but what do I get in return? Back to the bench again. So that is what his mindset would be, unless he does something dramatic, to get us to the next level, leading up to June. Yeah, and Asensio's. Yeah, I get both of your viewpoints that it's not as etched out in ink yet, like the BIOS, which is I think far more warranted than Asensio at this moment. But brilliant goal. I hope there is more coming from Asensio. But yeah, quickly to Vinny. I thought you had a very poor first half. Very poor first half. I think it coincided with the first
almost
half.
unwatchable.
Yeah, I think it coincided with the team having a very bad first half. But as soon as the tempo picked up and the team kind of looked to push the initiative, he looked threatening again, and yeah, very well taken goal. I think my only gripe with that is Vinicius has only one finish in those kind of scenarios. It's pretty most of the time he tends to
Yeah.
put it, at the far post. But
Also, it wasn't a great shot. I feel like you should have saved that, but whatever,
yeah,
whatever. It
yeah,
does.
yeah, it's one of those. But Doris, thoughts on Vinny, man?
Yeah, he was good. He did what he needs to do, and he just did what Vinny does. His goal was a typical FIFA goal, and it was funny. After that goal, Modric tried to score the same one. It didn't work out. Uh, but
You haven't
yeah,
played 23 yet, so yeah, don't talk.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's
Um,
not.
yeah, and Vinicius had a good game, and he did what he needs to do. Always good to see. As long as he scores, he did what he needs to do, and it was good for everyone. What he did, and both of those goals really started like, okay, finally we scored, we did this, and yeah, by the end of the game, the red card showed them what it means to play against Vinicius, and it's funny that some commentators said that he was actually provoking them, and it's just what Vidi does. It is your own fault that you get provoked
If you look at
by being
if you look at
beaten.
all the
You
great
know.
players, throughout history, every fucking guy is provocative. I'll tell you that. Me as a player, I was provocative. Me playing FIFA, I'm fucking provocative, man.
Yeah.
That is the name of the game. Like you can't just be covering behind, your captain and being like, oh, I'm not gonna, do something crazy to you. I'm just gonna do the basics, pass it sideways, try to run in behind. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
Vishal,
I'm
your
not
thoughts on
playing the
all this?
game with you. I'm playing the game with my teammates, and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do what you want me to do. And as much as it's annoying sometimes what he does, like he has every right to do that, and they don't have the right to beat him for it. And that's pretty much that. All there is to say about that. Like he is in the right there, and finally someone gets a red card for it, and it seems it's either a red or nothing for him, because it obviously has to be like this obvious for them to actually give a foul.
Mm. Yeah. Uh, when you watch it live, it was insane. Vishal, your thoughts, man, on the tackle? Like the moment Vini fell to the floor, he rose up and was squaring up against him. Rodrigo said, "Let's meet outside." Militao was
Yeah.
saying something to him as well. Because Gabriel Paulista used to play for Arsenal, and I used to watch him at Arsenal and think like he was a decent footballer. Like I never thought he had like yes, he has had his fair share of red card moments, his moments of craziness, but Vinny being a fellow Brazilian and stuff like that, like I don't understand. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get, I agree with Doris that, like, at the end of the day, if you're getting provoked by the fact that he's doing rondos around you, that's your problem, right? It doesn't
Exactly.
give you the right to take a sword and go for his head. At the same time, they are also allowed to act how they want, but you have to punish them for it, right? That is the point here. You can also choose to be a terrible human being and just kick somebody in the face. It's just you should be punished for it, right? So I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think he's been refereed well. It keeps happening with players of this type. Like I feel like you should be refereeing somebody like that differently than you would for somebody else, because they just get fouled on such a high level that you have to think about when to draw the line, or maybe you draw the line separately for them. I think Mourinho talked about this with Augusto Hazard a while back at Chelsea, which is you have to referee certain players differently, or
Yeah.
else you're just gonna let people get away with murder essentially, right?
Mm.
And we are very lucky that Vinny isn't like in any physical problems right now, because he's taken a beating all season, basically all season,
He
just because yeah, he goes up against players 1v1. even if he, I don't know, like some people have said he said some things to players, whatever, right? You can say something back, say some, but I mean, just two things, just being racist and
Obviously, man.
kicking
Like
out at
I don't
people.
know if these pundits and journalists they have played any sort of sports in any any manner. I mean, even if you play fucking street football or like gully cricket or anything. Like, obviously, they're gonna be sledging involved. They're gonna be some sort of provocation involved. Like obviously, a winger who's trying to beat a fullback or a centre back, he's gonna tell him, you know what, you actually managed to save the ball twice, but you know what, the third time I'm gonna do you basically. I'm gonna just do you. That should be the way stuff is done, man. The game has gone soft. The world has gone soft. I mean, I think the consequence of that. But yeah, need goal. He should step up his finishing. I have so much love for Vinny. Obviously, he's not my favorite, but it's Rodrigo. But I still consider Vinny to be, I think, the talismanic figure behind Benzema. And it hurts me to say this,
You just
but
slipped
there
that
were
in so smoothly and just kept on
I
going.
had to do it. I had to do it. I had to
Yeah,
do it
okay,
because,
okay.
in my opinion, Rodrigo is a much bigger game winner than Vinicius. I mean, that is just my
Okay,
opinion, but
that is an opinion.
fair. Okay. Thank you for accepting it, Doris. But yeah, man, like when he's not having a good game, he reminds me of Anthony. That's what I was about to say. That it hurts me to say that Anthony was someone I expected big things of. He's not having a good time at United, but his first few months has shown a very worrying sign that when he's not having a good time, it's him basically being a fidget spinner. And I don't want Vinicius to go down that route. Vinicius has so much more dynamism to his game, so many more assists, goals to his game than Anthony. But I see parallels in them being, flashy Brazilian wingers, very pacey, looking to, beat a man, couple of men. But yeah, like Vinicius needs to step up in that aspect, like we have been saying for most part of the season, that
I think
sometimes
it's
maybe to, yeah,
like I think we're overreacting there. I mean, like 90% of our attacks are on the left side. Like
yeah,
every
yeah,
pass goes to him. Like what is the man supposed to do? Like
I
if we
actually
had some
disagree.
no
Like,
no
you can,
if we had some balance, if we had someone on the right, he could actually use his trickery that he's known for and his skills, and instead he has to overdo that, and like almost every match I say like he is the kind of player that does something over and over and over and over, and eventually it works in a game. Like it ends up in a goal or in a key pass or something for him, which is really good, of course. But if we don't have the balance of both sides, there is a lot more workload on him than there it's supposed to be, and I don't think it's fair to judge him for that. The
Vishal,
yeah.
Vishal will actually get the reference. Like our team layout is basically Mohanlal.
banana.
The you wouldn't get it. It's the name of an actor. Back home, but
Yeah, back home.
but
Yeah,
you were actually contesting Doris's statement.
yeah,
Go for it.
yeah. I was, and I still hold. I think that the last match was the perfect example of why I'm saying this. First half, Vinny was something. Second half, I saw the first action he did. It was within 10 seconds. He had a man in front of him, and he chose to pass it to Kamavinga instead. And I tweeted that moment saying he's gonna combine 10x more in this half across the next 45 minutes because he's been told to do so. Not the case in the first half. The entire second half, he made decisions within 2 touches, 3 touches, 4 touches. That helped our fluidity. So, as much as we need to be more fluid for Vinicius, when Vinicius is making decisions 3, 4 steps, we literally get the Madrid of last year back, which is fast movements from the left, from the right, wherever the ball's moving, right, zipping left and right. That's what happened in the second half. So
Yeah,
Vinicius's
I'm saying
decision
that that's not
making, mm,
sustainable, you know. Like it works sometimes, but it's not sustainable at least for him right now. Like we're not playing like we did last year, and it's not solely because of Vinicius and his style of play. Like the entire attack seemed to change their tactics a bit. Like it's not just Vinicius, and you're saying like we were more
I
fluid
would,
then. I agree
I
with
would
you.
say
yeah,
Like I'm
both of
not
you guys,
disagreeing.
both of you guys are actually true in your own way. What Vishal is saying is a fact that Carlo, I think, would, I think that's why our team looks different after halftime, because Carlo, instead of raising just one eyebrow, raises both of them, at halftime, looking at Vinny, and kind of, I think that that's what gets the job done, because like what Vishal said, holding on to the ball longer and taking the unnecessary third or fourth touch basically derails any momentum or rhythm we have. And like
almost.
what both
Yeah.
gone, Vishal.
Yeah, no, I was just like I wasn't trying to say that that is the reason that our attack is bad because he doesn't combine. It's just his overall willingness to do that has
Mm.
been at a shocking, not even an all-time low, but a shocking all-time low. Except for
But
phases. Usually when we go a goal up, that always happens. Everyone's moving around and all of that. But that is true. When we score, the whole team does get activated. But at 0-0, like Vinny's performance is at 0-0, especially
Doris,
first half type
Doris is
situations,
also
kind
Doris
of
is
messes
also
up.
right in that aspect, because when she mentioned that our team never used to play like this last season, I would
Hmm.
add to that, Doris. The biggest facet is Benzema. The biggest causation is Benzema's dip in form, lack of fitness,
Exactly,
lack of sharpness,
exactly, yeah. That's
and
and
I
that's
think
why there's a lot more Vinicius than it was last year. Like last year, it was all Benzema with the magic moments from Vinny, And this
mm,
year, like we are very dependent on Vinny. Every ball goes to him because we know that it works. At some point, it's gonna work. He's gonna do something with
it
it,
has to work. If it doesn't work with Vinny, we are not getting anything from the game.
Exactly, exactly.
That as simple as it gets. But yeah, I think this is a good segue into Karim Benzema, who, in my opinion, had a far better game than the games he has scored in this season against Valencia. At least in my opinion, that Guti-esque pass back to, I think, was it Asensio, but I think it was
Assess.
Asensio. Yeah, man, brilliant stuff. This is what the man can do when he is, up for it. But you could see, just by scuffing a shot, I think in the second half he pulled something, and he was signaling, um, immediately signaling the bench that there's something wrong. And time again, we have mentioned in this podcast, all the Madridistas around the world has expressed their concern that the workload is going to catch up to him, and it is definitely catching up to him. The amount of minutes he has missed this season is appalling. The talisman of our club, the only hope, bar Vinny, that we have for winning something big this season is Karim Benzema. Let's not get it twisted. He might not be at the peak of his powers compared to last season, but he still is so much vital uh, to actually pulling defenders away. Taking the pressure off our wingers. Combining up, linking up our midfield and the attack. He is so fucking integral, and two assists goes to show that he was very effective, even though he had a below par game in terms of finishing by his standards. Um, Karim Benzema is going to be a bigger miss, in my opinion, than Militao. I think we can handle the defense. The defense, even with Militao, it is a shambles, man. But when we miss Karim, we really, really feel that there is no presence in the box. I mean, that has been a recurring theme whenever we miss Karim. Rodrigo is a good false nine. He's going to be playing in the false nine, I guess, tomorrow as well. But he's no Karim Benzema. Let's get it straight. Vishal, do you think that he's gonna be close to somewhere somewhere where he was last season when he actually gets to be fit and back up and running again. Because in 3 weeks we have the visit to Anfield, then we have the Clasico first leg. Um, is the first leg at the new camp, or is it at the Bernabeu? I'm not sure,
I
but
think it's the Bernabeu, the
it's at
second
the
leg of the,
Bernabeu.
if I'm
Okay.
not wrong. If I'm not wrong.
The schedule is so fucking jammy, man. I'm not sure, like it's looking increasingly unlikely that like our players would be in top fitness, man.
Yeah, it is a little worrying. Benzema, for my money, I thought he wasn't linking up as much or even close to as much. I think he looked leggy the whole game. Generally, I was actually hoping that the injury would be like an explanation for that, but I think that was clearly picked up from that singular incident. So maybe not, but yeah, for my money, he looked like a little less reluctant to link up. Um, for me, the first half that was the problem when he was doing that, but Benzema was also doing that. I didn't think he was just sort of hiding between the centre backs, not doing Benzema stuff. So yeah, like an unfit Benzema is does not give the same
You
payoffs.
saw, man. You saw it last season. In the biggest of the games, when there was no space, he somehow manages to find space. When there is
Yeah.
not a chance in the equation, he manages to like break the equation. The header against Chelsea, the goal against Sevilla. I mean, there's so
Goal
many
against City, the first goal against City, 4-3, left foot. What was that? Crazy finish. So yeah, we need him for those European nights, I feel. It's I don't know, like now after the injury, it's gonna be a game of balancing match fitness, building that up, and making sure we're not overworking him, which will be also yeah, that's also not gonna be easy because once he's back, we'll ideally want to play every single minute till the end of time. So it's just the situation we're in, I guess. Not ideal. Um, hoping that Rodrigo has good games at nine so that maybe he can rotate there since we already have two right wing options and things like
he'll
that.
have good games, but I don't think he's gonna be the difference.
We'll see. I think we had a great period without Benzema earlier in the season. I think there was a 4 or 5 game
When people
period where
like
we
Fede
scored
yeah,
12. Yeah, that's when
like
Fede
Fede's
was
goals
like
have dried up. So
absolutely, yeah, true. Fede's goals have dried up. That is also going to be a problem. So, yeah, it is going to impact us. Like, I can't think of two worse players to get injured than Militao and Benzema, but that is what it is.
yeah,
Like I generally don't know how to add to this. It is a little bit bleak. We don't know how we're gonna play without him. We're gonna find out now, which I'm happy we're finding out a little bit in advance of that, let's say, crazy period that's coming up
thinking that
again.
he'll be back for the Club World Cup final if we make it. I hope he plays maybe like 20 minutes just to get some
Yeah.
match sharpness. I hope that's the case. He's not rushed up. Uh, we as a club has this tendency. It's a Club World Cup final. The captain should be there with the armband on. So Kareem starts. And he picks up another niggle, and then it's long day. It's a long day, man. This is something that we saw coming, and we absolutely have no power whatsoever to actually do something about it. Some sort of a backup should have been signed, but I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get my mood down. Valencia was a good day. It was a very good day, and I hope tomorrow is a good day as well. Let's move on to Mallorca. We should be wrapping this up in like under half an hour. They stand 10th. They stand in 10th place at this moment in time. I saw that they lost the previous game and then they won against Celta the week before. So a couple of people I remember from a few years ago. They're still there. People like Jaume Costa. I think he came from Villarreal. Then
Yeah.
Muriqi is still there. Who is always a pain. He doesn't look like the most threatening of goal scorers, but he's a pain to deal with. I'll tell you that, especially with Militao missing. Our centre backs, will be properly occupied.
Yeah.
Danny Garcia, is he fit? I don't know. Brilliant player. Again, Mallorca, man. Like, talk to me. Like, how concerned should we be, especially away at Mallorca? I think we have had a few banana peels prior.
Yeah, so I feel like earlier this season, Mallorca, we won that game 4-1. Yes. But I think it was a horrible performance for us for a long time before we eventually got around to things. So yeah, like they can be extremely solid. That is the biggest concern. I genuinely don't prefer facing teams like that because that's when we tend to look our driest, most lost, out of ideas, and also vulnerable to like getting hit on the break and stuff. But I think couple of key things, let's say key players, Muriqi is 100% number one. I think he's easily the best aerial presence in the league. Nobody wins as many headers as him. It's like watching a machine on the pitch. If the ball's lobbed towards him, he is just gonna win it, right? And we don't have Militao on top of that, so it's not gonna be great. He's gonna knock it down to Kangin Lee, who is probably for me
Kangin Lee
there's
also
yeah
very,
next
very
or the same level of threat, or and yeah, I think they're both the same level of threat, very different levels of threat, very different kinds of threat. Kangali is just devious 1v1, very very quick, keeps attacking spaces, keeps wanting to get into goal scoring positions. Moriki is unbelievable in the air. So yeah, like that those are things to be worried about, but I'm also worried about breaking down the Mallorca defense, like how without Benzema, Rodrigo first game in a while, starting as a nine. Not sure who's going to start on the right. So yeah, attacking wise, I hope, like, I mean, sometimes goals just go in, right? So I hope tomorrow is one of those days where we score an early goal, and then we'll be fine. Like for me, it's just that 1-0 state that's absolute nightmares. We just look lost. Once we score, we're okay. Like the Mallorca game. Last time we weren't great, but once we scored, the floodgates opened. Same thing versus LJ.
that is a brilliant point. If they score first, it's going to be a bit more difficult for us. But if we score first, I think like what Vishal said, it's going to be basically game over tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, I like to be optimistic. It depends if Benz is gonna play or not. Like everything depends on who's gonna play. Actually, I think that it's not one of our biggest games, and if we have to worry about this, then we have a long way to go. And there's a huge one coming up. At least for tomorrow, I would hope that the players are ready. Just as we speak, Betis conceded a goal. Just to say, um, so yeah, for tomorrow, I'm pretty confident that we will play well, and if it comes to that, that they score first, I would hope that our players are competent enough to get back from that result.
We struggle against the low block. We struggle to
We seem to
beat people.
struggle against everything, and somehow we always come back, and there's nothing anymore that will surprise me with this team. And the teams that we play, we are so unpredictable sometimes, and maybe tomorrow we lose 8-0, and somehow I wouldn't be surprised. And somehow, even if we win 8-0, again, I wouldn't be surprised. So,
If we win 8-0, I'm gonna have a fucking party. I'm gonna tell you that.
a
I
party.
haven't seen a drubbing in a while. I used to grow up.
Yeah.
I used to grow up watching Real Madrid thrash teams 5-0, 6-0. That used to be a very common occurrence. But
Simeone's changed La Liga. That's actually what's happened. Everybody wants the points now. So yeah, nobody's making it easy. There's no space. You remember the Mourinho era? Like how much room these guys had to gallop across the pitch at 500 kilometers per hour.
The league
But
was in higher regard.
Also back then, when teams were actually going for it. Now, because everybody's fucking defensive, the quality has dropped significantly.
I don't think so, right? I feel like that's a better image of La Liga. That before we were just, I'd say, opening our legs the way PL does now. City scores 70 million goals a game.
I think it's a double-edged
Other
sword.
teams do.
Like,
It's
if you
not.
ask-
I think it's very clearly not. I would say, like,
see,
Us as La Liga followers, we would find reasons to actually support the claim. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but if you ask a neutral, right, guy who doesn't support a club, has a lean towards any league, he'll tell you for a fact that probably Serie A might not have the best technical footballers out there, but it's a far more entertaining league to watch than La Liga. And that pains me, because that wasn't the case back in the early 2010s, at least. It wasn't the case at all. So probably
I think you need to watch for La Liga. think you
I
need with
do
that.
watch enough La
La
Liga.
Liga, in my opinion.
Then we'll have to disagree.
Fair enough. In my opinion, at least, the very staunch defensive approaches of probably the smaller clubs, I think, tends to put a stain on the watchability of the league. I'll tell you that.
I agree with
In
that.
my honest opinion.
I wouldn't
That
say that we lack quality. I wouldn't say that we lack the finesse. We don't. La Liga has some brilliant players, like we see some golazos like every week. But you can clearly see that I think this might be controversial. I might just keep it to myself, but I like this. Honestly, you know why I say stuff like this? It's because it fucking pains me, man. Because you see Chelsea spending 700 million, right? They spent more than the fucking Spanish league. I mean, it is a joke at this point. It is an absolute joke. It signifies that we have absolutely zero pulling power. This league at this moment in time has way less pulling power than Serie A and the Premier League. Probably it might change, in the coming years. Villarreal had a brilliant run in the Champions League last season. I miss those old days, man, when Sevilla used to be so dominant. I just hope that we can get La Liga teams and the league as a whole back to where it actually was a few years ago. Losing Messi, I think, also played a big part, but I think Barca is finally kind of pushing us this season compared to last. Mallorca, always, I remember, the most painstaking nil-nils were always against Mallorca in my memory. They are a team, like you said, who likes to frustrate all the big boys. I mean, like, on a given day, they can surely do a job on us. So the points gap is not looking bright. It's not looking good. 8 points, and we play. It's 5 points at this moment. If they win, it's 8 points. But we played before them. I guess Carlo wasn't actually really happy with that. But talk to me, Vishal. Without actually winning the Clásico at the new camp, do you think we have a chance?
Yeah, maybe not. I'd say only because if we don't win, it means we drop another 2 points or another 3 points. So, which is a guaranteed 8 points, assuming Barcelona keeps going. So, we have to win the Clásico. That I don't think there's any two ways about that.
I don't think, regardless whether we win it or not, I think it's all in Barcelona's favor. Everything is in their favor. And it is looking pretty bleak in the league, at least.
For now, it doesn't look great.
Doesn't look great. Especially, I saw the game against Barca played Betis away, right? Last fixture?
Yeah.
Bro, talk to me, yeah. So Betis on paper should be a very good team. I don't know about their injury status and whatnot, but they looked fucking
Betis just
petrified, man.
equalized like a minute ago. I wasn't gonna say.
I think tonight they're playing, but I'm talking about the game.
Sorry.
Last week, they looked petrified, man. Like people like William Carvalho, who I rate very highly, they didn't know what to do. They were crumbling under the press.
Right. I think we saw two different games. This for the first half, Betis was.
I was
pounding.
watching after Petri scored.
Oh right, yeah. So I mean, towards the end of the second half, it was pretty much. The point was first half, Betis like really went almost too hard and almost got something out of it, but they were pressing so much that I think they lost gas. But yeah, I mean, Barcelona just has this effect regardless.
I just watched
They're
like 10
facing-
minutes after they scored, hoping for something to happen, but Betis looked defeated, man. The entire last 15, 20 minutes.
It was done. Yeah, once Barcelona scored, it was done. That's usually the case. That's what ends up happening. Once they score, they close out matches. It's also what they're good at, but they are also good at 0-0, unlike us, in my opinion. I think that's what separates them. They are much more likely to get the first goal, get it early, then sort of maybe score more goals or whatever. Yeah, I think that's just the challenge that we're up against. A team that's really functioning well, has a good system.
Barcelona
how
will
to win its
always
game.
be a better league team than us, right? That's gonna
It's
be
showing this year as well, at least. Yeah. So I generally tend to agree with that as well. And yeah, this year it's definitely showing that we are struggling here and there. They are barely conceding goals.
The first 3 months painted a different picture, including the Clasico win. Things were very different. But now
now it's
we miss a few players, it's gone. I can't fucking believe this, man, honestly. The whole fucking Gulf invasion into football, man, I just still can't believe that, real fucking Madrid, like, we can't have another striker other than Mariano Diaz. We don't have backup for our fullbacks. It's insane. I can't believe it. This was a team that Fabio Contrao and Marcelo fought for a position. It's insane. But it is what it is. La Liga is increasingly becoming depressing for me. I'll be honest. Maybe that is why I get kind of like this. But big up Elche. They won their first game, right?
Yeah.
finally.
The,
Villarreal,
In
3-1.
3-1.
Against
And they
Villarreal.
absolutely battered Villarreal for what it's worth. So I don't know where that came from, but pretty.
And they're being a hat trick.
Who saw that coming?
Great stuff. Pretty happy for them finally. I mean, the manager ran on the pitch. He looked like they'd won a Champions League or something. I mean, first win of the season, probably feels great at home too. So yeah,
Yeah,
Villarreal.
it was a
randomly-
strange day for football.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Arsenal lost, right? Tonight.
Yeah. Sean Dyche.
Liverpool
Big-
3-0. I mean,
79%.
damn. 3-0.
Yeah, Liverpool getting Lopetegui. That was lovely.
Lopetegui, damn it. Where was
Lopetegui,
this?
Emery, they're all killing it. Yeah.
Yeah, Atletico drew Getafe. That's also
So you drew? Oh, okay.
yeah.
No, not that.
Espanyol and Osasuna to like many weird results, and still it's Celta and Betis at 1-1.
1-1, yeah.
Hopefully it's not a 1-1 for us tomorrow, because there's many 1-1s in.
I'll tell you
Liga.
for a fact.
If we draw one more game, I repeat, if we draw one more game before the El Clasico, we are done. Done out there. Done. Fucking finito. That's it. If we draw one more game, we are done. Because I'm pretty sure Barcelona is not going to be invincible. Yeah, they have found their groove.
They've
but
also struggled, to be fair. But
they have struggled,
still-
but it kind of reminds me of us last season when
Correct,
things
correct.
were against us.
you find a way.
Basically,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, they missed Lewandowski for 3 matches, and the only thing we gained from that was a 5-point deficit. So just putting it out there.
Facts.
Facts, well, I mean, It is what it is.
Barcelona doesn't look like they're stopping, man. That's why that's why we have to kind of build up on our cushion that we had earlier in the season. But what can we do? A squad of 14 players, there isn't much you can do. Honestly, there isn't much you can do. Yeah, man. I guess that is pretty much a wrap. Any final thoughts before Mallorca tomorrow? Guys.
Please not a 1-1. Hopefully we win. And just like you said, it's gonna be really depressing if we.
When Kubo was there, they used to be shit, right? In my opinion, when he used to play against us, he used to look bright, but the team didn't. I hope that is the case tomorrow.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're a much better team than last year. So I still think we'll win. Though I think I don't know. It's wishful thinking. I hope we get the early goal in. I would kill for early goals at this point while watching Madrid games. I would do anything for that. So more of that. First half,
I'm telling you,
we're going to leave it late. And I mean 75 to 90 late.
Yeah, 80 minutes goal, and then the next 10 minutes we'll play like prime whatever, right? Prime three-peat, great football. Everyone's dribbling around 20 people.
My blood is boiling.
Sorry, Dom?
My blood is boiling as you're talking about it.
If you actually
look closely, Doris gets a red rash, when he actually is getting pissed. But the moment after Gabriel Paulista was sent off, we looked like just like you said, prime fucking Guardiola's Barcelona. Like we were picking it about. Everybody was joining in. Who took a shot? Nacho was trying to take a 40-yarder, 30-yarder or something. Insane stuff was going on. So I don't understand. Probably we have to, task Vinicius with sending someone off. I think that is the only way.
Yeah.
That is the way to overcome, these drabs, man, honestly. But yeah, I hope, like what Doris said, it is not a draw. I repeat, if we lose any more points before we get to the Clásico, the league is over. And I'm gonna tell you another thing, right? So back in the day when we used to concede the league and we used to not prioritize the league, clearly knowing that Barcelona is in a much favorable position, we used to do better in the Champions League. That was when we had people like Isco, people like Cristiano, people like Bale, people like Marcelo, Ramos, Varane, Pepe, you name it, Casillas, Navas, Diego Lopez, you can pick whoever you want. But that is not the case with our squad shape this season. If we kind of give up on La Liga, I really, really hope and pray that our momentum is intact, because I don't see us being as motivated, honestly. I don't see us being as in tick, playing in the Champions League and kind of playing in third gear in La Liga. It's not going to help. It's not going to help at all. So, yeah, we should be closing the deal on La Liga ASAP, because we can't be letting the gap be any more wider. I mean, that is my 2 cents. But yeah, man, Vishal, over to you.
Yeah, I agree. Big game tomorrow. I think for me, sometimes I worry about these games more than Champions League games, because Champions League games we get space, our players get to express themselves. I can have faith that everybody's gonna have the chance to do their best. We're gonna score goals. Hopefully we can do it tomorrow. It's gonna be very tight low block. It's gonna be the kind of football that we don't like watching, which is Madrid knocking at the door, not really pushing through. Hopefully we push through early, an early goal, and we will see a great performance, I feel, after it becomes 1-0, 2-0. It's just going to get better and better.
The team needs
which the team needs, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, which is what the team needs as well, right? To break that deadlock early so that we can
Thank fucking God, Liverpool.
Honestly,
at this
Thank
point.
God. Thank God.
At this point, Liverpool.
I can't wait to fucking take the piss out of, the Scousers. We have a preview coming up, hopefully in 10 days.
for the final.
I was fucking reserved. I held my cards close to my chest, but I'm coming in swinging. So hopefully,
Is Farouk
hopefully
gonna be there?
For the final,
I think
No,
he should
no,
be
for
there.
the Liverpool preview.
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, for the.
Already at the final.
I'm just making a premonition. I hope I'm right.
He better be there.
Yeah.
One final thing. Big up Vinny, man, third youngest Madridista to actually get to 200 appearances after people like Iker Casillas and Raul. Another small gripe with them. Fuck your boot contract, man. Get that sorted. This is not the time to actually being canvassed by Neymar for Puma and shit like that. Honestly, why is it a big deal? Playing with black dot boots, changing the boots at halftime, getting back his mojo, all this nonsense, man. Honestly, doesn't make sense.
Kind of random. Yeah, I agree.
Very, very random. But yeah, I guess that pretty much wraps it up. Don't forget to smash the like button, people, and also turn on the notification bell on, so that you guys are in the know whenever we, schedule the thing. And yeah, do check out our partners, Real Madrid Committee on Instagram. They run a brilliant fan page. Also, we are available on every audio podcast platform, ranging from Google Podcasts to Apple Podcasts. There's something I read, something called Podcaster. Yeah, everywhere, basically everywhere. So you can actually listen to us on the go. And there were a couple of people in the chat for the post game who was asking us, is there a chance that we'll be getting a post game? Well, you guys didn't get it then. Would like to apologize for the no show. But yeah, we had to kind of club the review and the preview together because of the lack of time and whatnot. But we'll be here for the post match tomorrow. Midday kickoff, right? It's early fucking 8 a.m. for me on a Sunday, the only day I get to fucking sleep. But it's for my club. I don't give a fuck. I just need the boys to have a good time and actually get a bit more confident. I need that chest back out. Last year during February, we were awaiting PSG. I remember we weren't confident, but we had that aura about us that we were cooking something special. I want to see more of what happened against Valencia, honestly. I want to see more goals, the players actually enjoying themselves.
Second half Valencia, yeah, just copy paste that into tomorrow. And
that's all that I need, man. But yeah, fingers crossed, man. Long way to go this season. Hopefully we get some ground back in La Liga. Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.
Madrid.